Welcome to the English with Kirsty podcast from www.englishwithkirsty.com. Here I'll be sharing with you tips, information and other learning resources so that you can improve your business English. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 22 of the English with Kirsty podcast. And today I'm going to talk about the weather. And I know that English people have a reputation for talking about the weather all the time when they can't think of anything else to say. But this is something slightly different because we're going to talk about weather idioms. And I may do another episode sometime in the future about nice, sunny, warm weather idioms. But this episode is about winter because we're in the middle of winter and I thought we could talk about some wintry weather idioms and what they mean and how you can use them. And if you want to see some examples of how you can use them, you can go to the show notes page because I've put an example under each one. So there's the idiom, the definition, and then how you might use them. And you'll find that on www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/22. So in order to get there, you have to spell my name right as well. So it's Kirsty, Kirsty, not Christy. englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/22. And while you're there, you can also enter the Christmas prize draw because that's open until the end of December. So if you want to have a chance to win a prize in the draw, then you can also do that on the show notes page, www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/22. Okay, so now on to these idioms. I'm going to talk about 7 different ones. And the first one is something that you've probably heard of before. To be skating on thin ice. It means that you're doing something which is probably risky, is probably not going to end well. It's almost like a warning to someone you're skating on thin ice. Because if you imagine that they're really skating on thin ice, the chances are that the ice will give way and they will fall in the freezing water. So it's not a good thing to be doing. But if you're doing that, then you're probably doing something which is dangerous or that could have negative consequences. Okay, the next one is a snowball effect. So you know if you roll a snowball round and around, it gets bigger, it gathers up more snow, and you end up with a huge snowball. Or maybe they're the base of a snowman and then you make another one to go on top for his head. But if something's a snowball effect, it's something that gets bigger and bigger or more and more important. So it gains momentum, it gets bigger as time goes on or within a short amount of time, but the point is that it gets bigger and bigger. Okay, the third one is also about snow and it's to be snowed under. So if you're snowed under, you've got so much to do, you can't take on any more. It's like if you're at work, this time of year is really busy for some people and they're snowed under because they've got extra things to do because it's coming up to the end of the year. And it's like, imagine yourself being covered by a big blanket of snow, but snowed under just means that you've got so much to do. And it's often used as well to say that you can't take on any more or you don't have time to do anything else. Number 4 is something that's a bit older. We don't really say it so much now, but you do hear it sometimes, that every cloud has a silver lining. So normally you think about clouds as things that just bring rain, and obviously rain is important for helping things to grow, but generally in a negative sense, you're going to get wet, it's going to rain. But if the cloud has a silver lining, there's something good that can come out of even a rainy, wet, miserable day. So basically it's encouraging people to look for the good in situations, even if they do look a bit depressing or hopeless. So look for the good even when it appears that something isn't going well or is not going to have a good ending. Number 5 is to get wind of something. So if you get wind of something, it means that you find out about something even though you're probably not supposed to. Even though it's supposed to be a secret, you find out about it, you get wind of it. You learn this information that you're not supposed to know. Number 6 is to have a face like thunder. And if you have a face like thunder, it means that you're really angry. And everybody can see that you're really angry. And yeah, you're probably best to avoid people with a face like thunder, or they may shout at you. Even if you're not the reason for making them angry, they just look so annoyed that you probably want to stay away from them until they've calmed down. And number 7 is to throw caution to the wind. So this means that you aren't careful, you don't think about the consequences of your actions, you just take a big risk and do something because you think it would be a good idea or because you want to do it. So it's not listening to any of those voices of reason in your head that tell you maybe to wait or to slow down or to not do something. You just get an idea and go with it. And other people, if they think that you're not thinking about it thoroughly, they can say that you threw caution to the wind and just did it anyway. So we've got 7 things there about ice, snow, clouds, and wind and thunder. So all these kind of wintry weather types that you think about when it's December, January, February time. And as I said, I may do another one to talk about some of the more summery weather idioms. So if you want to see examples of how these idioms can be used, you can head on over to the show notes page, and you can also see there how these are written. So this is also an article on my blog, so the show notes page will link through to that, and you can see them on the blog so that it isn't the same information in 2 places. And if you're interested in the blog generally, not every blog post becomes a podcast, so there are other things on there. I have a series called Questions from My Learners, so you can see some of the questions that I've been asked and the answers that I gave to them. I'm building up a list of the questions, so they all link through and you can see what the answers are. And I've also got a Learners Helping Learners series where learners talk about things that have helped them, the resources they use, that kind of thing. So if you want to have a look at the blog, although some of the articles are used for podcasts, not all of them are, so it's not just a complete duplication. So I hope you found those 7 idioms useful. If you can think of any more weather idioms, then you can add a comment to the show notes page, or you can send me a message. It's always really good to hear from people, what they think of the podcast, where in the world they are, why they're learning English. I really like to know that because it's interesting that I know who I'm talking to every week. So if you want to send me a message, that would be great. Again, that can be done on the show notes page too. Or you can email me at kirsty@englishwithkirsty.com. And also, don't forget that you can enter the Christmas prize draw while you're there on the show notes page. So there are 6 prizes that you can win, and we haven't had so many entries yet, so if you enter now, you do have a good chance of winning something. Okay, I will see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the English with Kirsty podcast. If you have any questions or comments, my email address is kirsty@englishwithkirsty.com, or you can go to www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast, where you'll find information about the individual episodes.